We are on principle number 8, discussing the spiritual work of emunah, the spiritual work of believing. And we are on page number 19 on the 6th aspect of emunah discussing now, which is emunah that our spiritual descents are given to us from God. So spiritual descent is when we're feeling disconnected spiritually. And we learned that having spiritual descents is essential in our spiritual progress. We could think that a person would just develop spiritually and go from higher and higher levels of spiritual connection. But we learned that all of our spiritual development involves having ups and downs in our spirituality. One of the meanings of the word Israel, in Hebrew Yisrael, the word Yisrael has many meanings, but one of the meanings, it breaks into two words, Yisrael, Yashar El, which means to be struggling with God. Right? Our struggling with our belief in God is essential to our spiritual development. Because the more that we're reaching higher spiritual levels, so higher spiritual levels are higher levels of loving and higher levels of emunah. So on a lower spiritual level, we can have a lower hiddenness of God that we're working to believe in. And on higher spiritual levels, there's higher levels of hiddenness of God and God's goodness that we're working to have unconditional love in those states. Normally, we could think that a spiritual ascent is when we're like off the path. But the spiritual descent is really a gift that's given to us for us to reach a higher spiritual level. So the learning is trying to help guide us to realize that every spiritual descent that we're experiencing is a gift, opposite of what it feels like, and it's to be used as an opportunity to work towards higher levels of emunah, higher levels of believing, higher levels of giving, and higher levels of unconditional love. We learn to reach any progressive spiritual level, we have to be able to go beyond the level that we're on, which means we have to lose the level that we're on to reach the next level. To attain a higher level of belief in God, we have to be able to overcome a higher level of disbelief in God. To reach a higher level of loving beyond our own self-interest, we have to have a deeper realization and experience of that we're working only from our own self-interest. So when we're first able to work with lower levels of our self-interest to overcome and lower levels of our disbelief in God to overcome. So once we've merited to or attained that level of being able to do that, so then we're given a deeper level to work with. So our spiritual descents are actually indications that we're progressing. Yes, in the Torah, so Avraham Avinu, Abraham, when God tells Avraham that his descendants will come into the land of Israel, and that they will inherit the land of Israel. And Avraham says, well, how do I know? And God says to Avraham, you'll know because the proof is that your descendants will be enslaved for 400 years. And Avraham's like, okay, now I understand. Now how do we understand that? God tells Avram his descendants will inherit the land of Israel. So Avram's, how will I know? And then what kind of answer is that? Your descendants will be enslaved for 400 years. And Avram seems like it's a good answer for him. So we learned that the whole Torah is not it's not like it just seems on the outer level, but all of the Torah is giving us deep insight into our inner spiritual transformation. The whole Torah is written in encoded language. So there's many different levels of understanding the Torah, but on one simple level, so Avraham is an aspect of ourself that's trying to connect to the place of loving kindness, of giving, divine connection. And in the idea expressed here, one way of looking at it is Avraham is wondering how we could reach the end of our spiritual journey, complete connection to all of God's goodness. Because once we reach even one little spiritual level of experiencing God, it'll be so good and so joyful, and we'll be so satisfied with that experience that there'll be no need to go on to all the other levels. And Avraham realizes that the end of our spiritual journey that we're here to experience is a state that is so beyond, so exalted. The goodness that the source of reality wants to give to us is so boundless. So the question is, how are we able to get there? Because once we just get one step along the way, it'll be enough for us. We won't have any motivation to go anywhere beyond that. And the answer is that we'll be enslaved for 400 years. So the number 400, all the numbers in the Torah are coded language for concepts, spiritual concepts. So we discussed before how there were 4 letters of the divine name, right? Yud and He and Vav and He, connected to our 4 stages of spiritual development, of receiving to receive, giving to receive, giving to give, and receiving to give. So the number 4 represents the entire system, like everything. And 400 is that in its in completeness. So the number 400 in coded language of the Torah represents everything. Right, there's a place where Avram buys the Marat Machpelah. He buys for 400 shekels, which means he pays for it everything. We have a place in the Torah where Esav is coming after Yaakov with 400 men, meaning he's coming with everything. So 400 represents everything. So the answer to Avram's question, how will we be able to come to experience the end of our spiritual journey, is you'll be enslaved for 400 years. You'll be completely, to all the levels. Meaning that once you reach one spiritual level, so then it will be taken from us, so we can get to the next spiritual level, which will be taken from us, we can get to the next spiritual level. So it's only through the descents, it's only through the hiddenness of the goodness that we can come to experience the highest goodness. All of the descents, all of our spiritual disconnection is essential to our ability to be able to connect on higher and higher levels. There's also a metaphor connected to this, that there's two friends, and they haven't seen each other for many years. One of them becomes a king, and one of them is very poor. And the poor friend meets the king one day, and they're very happy in their reunion. And the king asks what he can do for his old friend. And his friend says that he needs money. So the king says to go to his treasury and go to the king's treasury, and he can go in and take out whatever he can take from the treasury. So the friend goes to the king's treasury. There's a guard there, lets him in, and the friend takes a whole big handful of the gold and diamonds and jewels that are there, and there's endless treasures there. And the friend is so happy, and he takes the treasures out of the treasury, and as he gets to the door, the guard throws all of the treasure on the ground. So the friend doesn't know why the guard did that, but the king had said that he has 1 hour to take what he wants from the treasury, and there was still a lot of time left. So he went back into the treasury and takes another big handful of treasure, comes out of the treasury, and the guard once again throws all of the treasure on the ground. This happens over and over and over until the end of the hour. It's the last moment that the treasury is going to be open for the friend. Takes a great big handful, last handful be able to take, and he takes it out, and when he leaves the treasury, he says to the guard, "Please, this is my last time I get to come out. Please don't throw all the treasure on the ground, let me keep it." And the guard says, "No, you don't understand. All the treasure that's on the ground that I threw on the ground, everything you took out, it's all yours. I kept throwing it on the ground because I knew that you would just take one handful and you would go home." So the idea is that in every spiritual thing that we're doing, every act of loving kindness we're doing, every mitzvah we're doing, every spiritual practice we're doing, if it was revealed to us, like what was really happening, what was really going on, in every little thing that we did, if we knew how that would be shining forever in goodness and divine connection, if that was revealed to us, so we would do one mitzvah, we would do one act of loving kindness in our life, and it would be enough for us. We won't need to do anything else. We would see how that would be shining forever. There would be no need for us to do anything. So it's the inner of what's going on is like thrown down to the ground, like we don't realize it. We can't not experiencing it. In order for us to be able to do more and to do more and to do more and reach higher and higher levels. We learn eventually in the final cosmic moment we're headed towards, every mitzvah, every spiritual practice, every act of loving that we did, every giving that we did in our lives, are all saved up. It will all become revealed in our final cosmic moment. We're just not able to experience the depth of what we're doing right now in order for us to be able to do more. So we have the idea that all of our spiritual descents, all of our feeling spiritually disconnected, is all purposely here to help us to progress spiritually. Okay, so we'll end for now and God willing discuss more next time.